Good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to the
Hello.
hello, sir. Full screen.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. Namaskar.
કેમ છો?
મજામાં થોડો આવે છે મારો.
Yes, let us start this webinar. Today's webinar is very interesting. Entrepreneur is his own enemy. So, next slide, please. Entrepreneur is the own enemy. The topic seems to be laughable, but in my 45 years of career, I found that many companies are not graduating to the next level to their full potentials. And I found that most of the entrepreneurs are caged birds with doors open to fly. The next slide will be giving a representation how the caged bird is looking like. They have a passion for changing the world at the start of their business. When they start their business, they got a lot of passion to do something innovative, something new, something untried, but they put sleepless night to see they achieve success. They build great teams and select best possible environment for growth, and all of a sudden the momentum is lost. I think next slide. See, this is the ideal example. Bird is there in the cage, and he was there for a long time. So he has forgotten to fly, and he is not coming out when the door is open. He is not coming out because he thinks the door is closed. And this is what happens to many of our entrepreneurs in different stage of their life or their career or their span of the journey. And this is what exactly we should avoid. So today's topic is going to be bringing out the bird outside of the cage. Every successful entrepreneur knows and understands what it takes to achieve positive and encouraging result in that chosen line of business. Notwithstanding, there are enemies, or what I personally refer to as a goal blocker to every endeavor, and entrepreneurs are not exempted. Every entrepreneur needs to be able to recognize threats to their success. We will look into some of these goal blockers. In next blue slide, I am going to describe the goal blockers. Well, this is not limited to that. See, your ego is your enemy. This is the first thing. Your ego is your enemy. Next slide. Ego, this is perhaps the greatest enemy of any entrepreneur. Positive ego is good, but problems arise when an entrepreneur makes himself the center of attraction instead of business. The ego becomes an enemy when he starts to make decisions that are based on his personal interest instead of the needs of the business. Today in our group, a very senior entrepreneur from where few things I have learned. G.K. Kabraji is the innovator for LPG cylinders in a small this thing. Whatever today you are seeing, he pioneered that innovation, and we have to learn a lot from senior people like G.K. Kabraji. This problem is not only particular to startups, but it is applicable to experience and successful business also. This can bring down a business to its feet just in a very short time. See, many businesses are coming down because of the entrepreneur's ego, and entrepreneur wants to take care of his interest rather than the interest of the business. He misses the link. If the business is multiplying in its value, his wealth is also increasing. Yesterday, Sensex crossed 58,000 rupees just because Reliance Industries has share has risen to 2,300 and something, and that has put all the Sensex by about 3, 4, 500 points, as well as his own wealth has, his company's valuation has touched 15 lakh crores. So that is what happens. See, if he keeps his personal interest and not the business interest, what will happen to the dream of Dhirubhai Ambani? Yeah. You should recognize the threat that your ego possesses to the success of your business. Your ego should be aligned with the success of your business. You have put your tears, your sleepless night, your efforts, blood, everything in your enterprise, and that should be cultivated, and there should not be any possible this thing where your ego is looking for your personal interest, and then it is not taking interest of the business. Second important trait is comfort zone. This is again a very big enemy of an entrepreneur. Many a times entrepreneurs form a habit of getting relaxed and becoming complacent when they reach a certain level of success. In such a situation, they tend to take the same course of action in solving different problems just because that particular method has continued to work for them in the times past. Suppose if one particular method has given you certain results, and then that result you would like to see that the next situation of similar, you try to apply the similar this thing. You think that now, all shoes fit to everybody, which is not so. Every particular situation in a business has got a different solution, because that earlier it has worked for some similar situation. You try to apply without trying to put your creativity to find out new solution, because yes, I have achieved what I wanted. That is the worst enemy of a successful entrepreneur. Every industry experience change, and it becomes important that as an entrepreneur you step out of your comfort zone or you will be left behind. If you are still in your comfort zone, you will be left behind, because today ecosystem and entrepreneurship is developing very, very fast in India. Earlier, from 1969, the ecosystem has around was coming up because of the debt finance. But now, in last 10 years, there are many successful entrepreneurs who have not depend on the debt finance. They have followed the equity finance and the ideas what they have created. Otherwise, Flipkart and many Zomato, those all kind of things would not have come. Recently, everybody will be thinking, particularly of my age and Mr. G.K. Kabra's age, that what is there in internet is he is getting so much valuation. Zomato valuation has crossed 1 lakh crores in maybe 10 years time or 7 years time. So that is what they have come out of the comfort zone. It is not uncommon to hear of several businesses that have been put out of the work as a result of disruptive innovation. Kodak is an ideal example for many years. In MBA courses also, Kodak is becoming a case study. They did not realize that digital cameras, digital filmmaking will take over, and today Kodak is no more. Complimentary is an enemy to anyone, just not to entrepreneur. Even if you are a student also, if you get some desired marks and you say relax, you will be in trouble immediately. And as such, the sooner it is dealt with, the better it gets for the individual and for the business. When you leave your comfort zone, you are certainly taking a step in the positive direction. To further strengthen you on this issue, I will add the popular saying that nothing good comes easy. This is very particular. Nothing good comes easy. Okay. Next in the series is learned helplessness. When an entrepreneur begins to cultivate the habit of I can't, I am not able to, over the time, they will eventually become helpless in their endeavors. Learned helplessness makes people feel like victim all the time, even they are not. When they should be optimistic, he or she tends to be pessimistic. And last about 10, 15 years, when I'm hiring somebody for a job, this is what I find in them, that they are pessimistic. They don't understand the question. If this is happening to young youth of, we are producing about 4-5 lakhs engineers every year. What will happen to our country if we do not come out with, come over this situation? The first step in dealing with this enemy of entrepreneurship is to recognize its presence. That is the first thing. If you recognize that this is what I cannot do, I am not able to, these kind of things makes you think negatively, and you will not be able to think, you will be always coming out half glass full, half glass empty. Both are same. But people who are saying half glass empty, they demonstrate negativity in them. That is where a lot of things that can be changed. First thing, you have to recognize, that is where you should start with. When an entrepreneur recognizes that he or she is exhibiting such a character trait or habit, they need to take proactive steps to connect the behavior and completely eliminate it. It may not happen in a day. Once you become aware, then you start improving and thinking how I can change. That will help you. The next other thing is taking the path of least resistance. This is again a big goal blocker. This falls in the same category as learned helplessness. Taking the path of least resistance refers to the natural disposition of one to follow a way that seems to be easiest and quickest in order to achieve a result. People who tend to act in such a way, and usually do so to avoid challenges and get result in the short term while neglecting the consequences of their action in the long term. This is again, you see, about few weeks back, I had a webinar on 5 whys. It's a Japanese technique. The same thing, you will have to have a long-term vision where you want to achieve in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years in your business. And if you take that goal as this thing and then try to work out these solutions, you will be able to be having more success. If you go with a least resistance path, that is a natural tendency of any human, and ultimately if it is with the entrepreneur, it percolates down to the employees, and then we will not be so productive as it is desired from us. That is the one thing which everybody should understand. This attitude towards getting things done should be discouraged among entrepreneurs. Although it may not be easy to completely do away with this issue, as nobody loves to take difficult steps, when there are easier ones available, it can still be attained. It boils down to how determined you are as an entrepreneur in getting rid of problem. Entrepreneur himself is a starting point, okay, where he is taking a risk, and risk aversion will be the next, it will come in one of the slides. This attitude towards getting things done should be discouraged, although it may not be easy to complete. This is again a limited this thing. Next, this is come twice. Unhealthy competition. This is again a big challenge. Competition is good, no doubt about that. However, when it is done in an unhealthy fashion, it becomes a problem. There's a quote that reads, competition in business is a blessing, for without it, we wouldn't be motivated to improve. This is certainly true for much of the innovation which we see and enjoy today is a result of healthy competition. When an entrepreneur forgets why they went into the business and starts to compete with their rivals, it usually doesn't end up in a good note. See, either by competing unhealthy by price cut or reducing the quality, you are forgetting about your long-term goal, and you are forgetting why did you start the business, and then it ultimately ends up in losing the market share or vanishing from the market overall. If you decide to compete with anyone, first need to know whether you are actually doing the right thing. See, you should decide whether you are trying to compete or you are trying to improve your quality, price point, penetration, market share, etc. For unhealthy competition, you are killing yourself. The five above enemies stated in this article are actually a few in a host of so many. Although they are only a small representation, dealing with these five would be a great first step in helping you to achieve your goals as an entrepreneur. Every entrepreneur needs to recognize these enemies are threats to their success, to the success of their business, and they have to work for eliminating them. The above mentioned are but few or more. Perfectionism in a business. This is again a challenge which we should feel. Psychologists consider perfectionism is a disorder, while prominent business thinkers strongly discourage entrepreneurs from even trying to be perfect. See, if you remember, um, Steve Jobs of Apple Computers, in early days, he started to be perfect. He wanted to do a laptop or a Apple computer as a perfect this thing. And in the process of developing that, he has taken a lot of abuses from their team workers, a lot of good people left. And ultimately, 1985 or 86, he was thrown out of the board of Apple, though the product was doing excellently well. So it is a decision what you have to take. In the world of business, perfection will more likely inhibit your chance of success than take you there. So if you continue down the often destructive path of perfectionism, expect to deal with massive issues throughout your life. Your your expectation will be unrealistic and impossible to meet. This is another challenge. If you insist striving to create a product that is utterly perfect, then you will be saddled with a litany of demanding features that your team will need to develop. The concept of minimum viable product won't even appeal to your demanding sensibilities. Today, our government is encouraging a lot of startups, and when they go for a angel investor or early seed rounds and other things, they are asking the concept of minimum viable product, and once they show that, the funding door starts opening. So a minimum viable product is a very critical aspect in today's startup world. And with this product, if they've gone to few customers and they get a feedback, they can correct it. But if they want to do perfect before they go to the customer feedback will not come. That is why in today's startup world, this is a big concept you will which you will have to work. You will be exposed to excessive level of stress. So when you are creative and you want to do something unique and perfect, and your team is not working to the alignment of your ideas, and they are leaving you, you will be having a lot of stress in this thing, and stress is a killer for any human. Equally, fear of failure and fear of missing out are two contradictory opposite dilemmas. Again, fear of failure and fear of missing out. Today, there are a lot of opportunities. and you will not be trying to do, if I do this, I'll fail. And if you don't try that, you will be missing out that opportunity. So you will have to, these are two opposite sides. So you will have to be very careful. Uh, this will be challenge for every entrepreneur, and not taking a decision the right time will be one enemy to create a chance of or losing a business opportunity. When there was a transition happening in Bajaj Auto, when Rajiv Bajaj just joined his father after getting an education from Harvard and other colleges, uh, they lost two opportunities. Not trying to compete with Hero Honda when other four manufacturers are gone. Like these two opportunities they have lost, and the cost of that loss will not be quantifiable. So this is very critical. Fear of failure and fear of missing out. This balance is very critical for every entrepreneur, and timely decision has to be taken. Your creativity will run dry. This is again a challenge for every entrepreneur. High performance requires a lot of hard work. Perfection takes much more time. If delivering high quality result in your business already takes a considerable toll on your creative energy, then a dog face for perfection can only bleed you dry. So like because you are busy with so much routine job, and finalizing that product features and things like that. And one stage you will find tired with your own creativity, and that will run dry. So this is again a challenge where this is an entrepreneur's enemy. You don't be open to compromise. See, today from Bhagavad Gita time or Ramayana time, compromise is a clear indication of moving out. I am a Gujarati, and we have got 26 words for settlement or compromise. Patavi do, unchumki do, all that kind of things. There are 26 words in Gujarati. If you think why, then you will be able to understand why Gujaratis are reasonably more successful as a businessman, or why Marwadis are more successful. See, flexibility is an extremely rare trait among headstrong and idealistic perfectionists. But among entrepreneurs, being flexible is a critical for success. Top entrepreneurs quickly adapt to changing business realities, making them better innovators and creative thinkers than most perfectionists. See, last 1.5 years of COVID, how many changes have come? People who are sitting in a corner room, if they are not changed to the realities, probably this quarter 20.85% GDP growth over a low base would not have happened. They have changed, they have adapted, they have realized, they have taken steps, they have taken care of their employees, which has come out. If they don't compromise, come what may, you have to come physically work in the office, then employee will resign. The cost of resigning an employee has to be understood. This is again, you will be more risk averse. Some psychologists consider perfectionism is as a phobia, the fear of failure or making mistake. If the thought of failure prevents you from taking the next step, then you won't really get things done. In contrast, successful entrepreneurs thrive by learning from their mistakes and pushing forward, and nearly all of them encountered major failures along the way. The learning which has come has helped them to grow to next level. You will be seen as a monster by peers and employees. This is again a problem. See, in a marketplace, what is your reputation? Either with your employees or with your customers or with your suppliers. People who know Steve Jobs, Apple, are aware of the terror his perfectionism created for the people he worked with for many years. while being a monster might not be your personal development agenda. Unbridled perfectionism can turn you into one without even realizing it. This is again a challenge. There is a real tendency to hold people against the very same demanding standard you set for yourself. In many cases, it is just a recipe for disappointment for all parties involved. One of the most common ways entrepreneurs become their own worst enemy is by focusing too heavily on things that do not deserve so much attention. For whatever reason, be it fear of failure, fear of success, or something else altogether, entrepreneur falls into this habit of spending too much time perfecting existing projects when they should be thinking about what is next. This is your job. The next job, what is the next has to be your job, but signing the vouchers, account this thing. See, you should delegate and be free for strategic decisions at, depending on the level of your enterprise. So, uh, as on to up to this, I have identified and explained you possible problems or possible enemies. Now, some of the solution I would like to give it possible solutions. How to conquer your worst enemy? Overcome the first thing is overcome the negative attitude. This is a worst killer. So you have to come. Attitude is everything is famous. Everybody says attitude is everything. The mind and body connection is very powerful. Our emotions are least our bodies, and dwelling on negative one can cause many physical health problems. A positive attitude creates solution orientation. When encountering a setback, instead of throwing their hands up, they continue to search for a way around the problem because they are convinced there is a solution, because they recognize that what looks like failure is really a learning experience. This is one of the possible solutions, which it has to be developed in your personality. Let's consider three steps that can help you turn your negative thoughts around. First thing is accept your thought and feeling. It's important not to dismiss your negative thoughts or worries. Worrying is not going to help you. Again, worrying about worrying is not going to help you. Accept your thoughts and feelings and take time to examine them. When you accept the existence of negative thought and take ownership of it, you take back power and control. The problem no longer feels so large. Challenge your negative thoughts. Once you accept your negative thoughts, you are in the position to challenge them. Replace negative thoughts with realistic thoughts. This may not be easy. You will have to cultivate the habit to identify what are the negative thoughts, why they have come, and how you can overcome. And that will allow you to think in realistic this thing. The enemy of entrepreneurship, again, procrastination. Entrepreneurship and procrastination is not an ideal combination. Defined as the avoidance of doing a task that needs to be accomplished, procrastination is an enemy we all battle with on regular basis. It is the practice of doing more pleasurable things in place of less pleasurable ones, or carrying out less urgent tasks instead of more urgent ones, thus putting off impeding tasks to later time. What do today? Why do it today when you can put it off till tomorrow? This is again a challenge. We all the entrepreneurs develop that कि कल कर लेंगे, परसों कर लेंगे. That is an enemy. Short offending hidden reserves of willpower. There are few ways you can track yourself into getting this important task done sooner rather than later. Plan your time out. Done the right way, planned perfectionism can actually help your brain function better. We all know staring at our screen for hours can make that creative solution you are desperate to for stay hidden. But a short walk around the park, for example, will take away from overwhelming panic and has good chance of naturally dreaming up the solution for you. When I was a student in engineering and one problem I was not able to solve, and I slept in the night at 2:30. All of a sudden, I waked up, and then that solution was there. So by taking little rest, giving a rest to brain, or taking a different task depending on your priorities, will help you to get a better solution. Have a readily available list of small but useful things you can do when you are not in a mood for serious concentration. Try the Pomodoro or technique. 25 minutes work followed by 5 minutes break. Every 4 blocks, take a longer break. If you start it doing, you are working on it for a short period of time before you can take a break. Your brain won't be so tired and you will get more accomplished. So now today, SME analytics, what we think and what we do. Next, please. Next slide. What we think, we at SME Analytics are strongly advocating that by increasing the operational efficiency of existing MSME unit by 5% year on year for next 3 years, will create 3 to 4 more crores low skill jobs with marginal capex. With increased focus on efficiency and cost optimization, average life cycle of units can be increased. I don't know how many of you are aware, one survey about 5 years back says that average life of MSME is 8 years. If we can increase from 8 years to 10 years, 3 crore jobs can be retained, assuming that 6.35 crore units are there. Before the definition of retail and wholesale coming in MSME, at that time 12 crore people were working in MSME. So that 25% life increment will retain the job of 3 crore people. The assets created in MSME sector from the time of nationalization of the bank will be about 152 to 200 lakh crores. Increasing the operation with just 5% year will put India in the forefront for economic development. This figure of 150 to 200 lakh is for 6.35, and recently 8 crores are added because of retail and wholesale coming in. That also will be bringing another 150 to 200 lakh crores. So totally somewhere in 300 to 400 lakh crore is the assets in MSME. And our stock market capitalization in Sensex yesterday with 58,000 rupees, 58,000 Sensex is about 300 lakh. So you can imagine because of MSME, we are not able to notice the assets created. What do we do? In our desire to support startup and MSM units, we provide them the detailed financial ratio analysis and recommendation. The analysis is performed with the help of our proprietary DIY tool, Babaji, Business Analysis, Business Augmentation and Growth Information System, and is based on available data from the business unit. We work based on a premium model. So first analysis of your business balance sheet is free of cost. We are also developing Z-score for MSME to manage insolvency risk and also to reduce rate of growth of NPA banking sector. We also provide mentorship and advisory service for startup and MSME units. I request everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you. And now we'll be taking some question answers. These are all my social media coordinates. You can contact us on these various social media. Thank you everybody to participating in such a large number. We'll go for question answers now. There are 13 chats. Somebody can read out the chats. 13 chats are there. Sir, you can read out one chat and then I'll answer it.
Okay.
Try to tell me the name of everyone.
Mr. Subhranshu Sarkar has
Yeah.
asked, how can an entrepreneur learn and unlearn things which today may not be feasible to implement? How can we make them get to use new concepts and resolutions that might help him or her achieve set goals?
1 minute, Pinaki. Is that Pinaki? Sorry
Yeah,
to
it's
interrupt.
Yeah.
So I think Pinaki, you have raised your question against my name. This is Sarkar. Good afternoon, everyone. And the question raised by me, Desai sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So I raised the question, can the ego of the entrepreneur lead to failure or fetch lower return on investment ROI, which is return on investment?
Definitely.
How can they come out of the cage? Because in the beginning you showed a cage.
Yes.
How can they come out of the cage?
The first thing is entrepreneur should realize that his ego should not harm the business. And he should have a positive ego so that it percolates down the last employee in the company. Positive ego creates a positive vibe. And if you think our tagline of SME analytics is positive think positive and think profit. So there is a strong connectivity between positive thinking, which is a reflection of your own ego, and it will definitely improve your return on investment. And there is a strong connection. Probably in about 3 or 4 weeks, I am trying to give a connection between think positive and think profit, where I will be taking in emotional intelligence connection and how it is connected with profit. That will be this thing. I have started doing some research. It may take about 4 to 6 weeks because that is a very heavy subject. So we'll be coming back shortly with that topic. I hope I answered your question, Sarkarji. Next question, please. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The only point I wanted to make is what you are telling is about the mindset of the entrepreneur. So the mindset of the entrepreneur has to come out of the cage or come out of his mindset. Then there are some action items which perhaps have to be taken by him to reach the desired level of profit. So how does he operationalize his decisions?
As an entrepreneur, continuously, practically every day, he should look into his actions and whether it has contributed positively to growth of his business. That will come from his own mirror image. When before he goes to sleep, he should come back and look what he has done to his business, whether he's allowed the business to go to next level every day, small step. Then it is a 1,000-mile journey, and whether he is taking a measured step to improve it or not. His ego should not come in his way. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Can I read you the next question?
You have got another question?
No, I can read. I can
No,
see
no.
the screen. I'm
having
reading Pinaki.
Now I have
I'm
got a
reading
Pinaki
Pinaki's.
question.
Okay.
How can an entrepreneur learn and unlearn things which today might not be feasible to implement? How can we make them get to use new concepts and resolutions that might help him or achieve set goals? Very interesting question, Pinaki. See, today, not only learn and unlearn is that thing very critical. Unlearn is the first priority. So your old concept has to get changed. Now, every second, some technology change are coming. And if you are not with that, you will be thrown out of the business in the next few years. And your goal is to see that you continue your business growing. So, first, unlearn. I remember a small story. I don't know whether time. See, one Guru Maharaj, two students went. One said, I know Bhagavad Gita, and second say, I don't know Bhagavad Gita. What are the charges? So, one who does not know Bhagavad Gita, Guru Maharaj said, I need 100 rupees from you. And one who knows Bhagavad Gita little bit, he asked for 200. The reason is, first he has to clean what he has learned. That is why 100 rupees for unlearning and another 100 to learn. And today's skilling, upskilling, skilling, and reskilling is a continuous process. Continuous process. So, and then see, your goals are a dynamic goals. You have to keep changing the goal regularly with new. Regularly, you should do SWOT analysis. Regularly, you will have to do many new management exercises. Understanding your this thing, competitor's advantage also will make you continuously grow. Second question is from Sarkar. Is creation of profit a good or entrepreneur? What should we do to achieve target profit and ROI? Is creation of profit a goal for entrepreneur? Yes, creating a wealth and profit is a goal of an entrepreneur, because he has not only to take care for his passion, he has to take care of his family, he has to take care of his country, he has to take care of this thing. Maybe his contribution may be small, but making a profit, healthy profit, is a continuous attempt to be done by him. Today, in last 45 years, this thing, consultants were not regarded a good part of MSME. Think of taking good consultant with you, or think of a mentor like Mr. G.K. Kabra, who has got about 60, 65 years of experience with that DNA in him, which will help you to go to next level. Let's hear and learn from Mr. Desai today. A data-driven decision app for business decision making. How can an entrepreneur take benefit of technology to drive decisions? Sarkarji, thank you. This is a very interesting question. There is a lot of debate going on in large corporation also whether data-driven decisions are good or gut-feeling decisions are good. I feel for MSME, they will have to form a habit, because in my last 6 years, reviving a sick unit was one of my passion. And in that, when I have found out some entrepreneur not using available data for that advantage, I started using it, and now they have turned around their companies. So data-driven decisions are more this thing. Another problem an entrepreneur has got, whether he should take decisions on base of emotions or based on logic. And these are the questions which an entrepreneur will have to face. When he says, I will take a decision on logic, but when he looks back, somewhere emotions have affected the decision making. So when you go for data-driven decision, the emotional part will be reduced. It is not that totally you can eliminate, but you can start reducing and see that the magic of profit increasing. I hope I answered your question, Sarkar sir. as cost of mistake are high in business, do entrepreneurs need professional advisor board running business and taking informed decision? Sir, yes, this is the most needed thing for units who are having in turnover range of 10 crore to 50 crores, because they may be facing two challenges. One is succession planning, and second challenge what they will be facing is his own dilemmas, which he cannot find to get an answer in his own employee network or brainstorming or his friend or other this thing. So a professional advisors rather, and a consultant will definitely help you to improve your growth at a accelerated pace. See, I will tell you one question. Uh, See, if I give this my common experience, if I give your wife rice, milk, and sugar with minor additions, how many items she can make? If you ask somebody, you'll say 10, 20, 15, depending on their culture and other things. The same ingredients are available with you. Have you thought how many items you can make in your existing setup? Like say you got plant machinery, labor, supplier, bank limits, land, everything. Have you thought any time how many items I can make? While you want your wife to come out with a different solution, why not do you apply to your own situation? Consultant will be able to help you out in this kind of things. Product diversification or utilization of capacities, understanding what is your capacity. These are all and very costly mistake. I told you in the presentation the example of Bajaj Auto, Rajiv Bajaj. They could not go to 100cc model, and it has costed. But that is why these are all time. You will have to take time of strategic thinking. Are you CA? Are you teacher to educate us? Sir, I am not a chartered accountant. I am an engineer. But with my experience, I am able to understand. Today, I am saying today's youth, common sense is uncommon. So these are the things where we have learned hard way. When in my 39 years of journey of MSME, I have to go through 8 years of turnaround. Miss, I was sick MSME, and to turn around, it took me 8 years just to restart. So that all experience I am ready to share. My age today is 70. So I would like to give my I would like to become a guide for number of MSME units. And last 6 years, I must have given this kind of advice to 100 of the entrepreneurs who come to me. That is what is there? Where is the new questions? Are the questions over? Sir, no more questions. Anybody? Any more questions?
Desai I just would like to, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'd just like to thank you for your eloquent speech and eye-opening experiences about because you have been yourself an entrepreneur for last 39 years and you have failed and succeeded. So it has been a journey for you, and hence you are discussing the practical aspects. But
Yes,
one point I would like to add on the cost of mistakes, as today's for a startup or a MSME, since cost of mistakes will be very high, it can even lead to business failure. Hence, to avoid the emotions in decision making, data driven decision and the use of AI and ML, that is artificial intelligence, the new age technology can be very, along with predictive analytics, can be very useful for decision making and for correct decision making. Say a make or buy decision, whether we'll make or we'll give it on contract manufacturing or we buy, or a capex investment for a project. Do we go for the capex investment, or do we, I mean, arrange on a sharing basis? So this, all these kinds of make or buy, capex, or other decisions where there are two or more alternatives, where there is a scenario planning, the risks of taking a unfounded decision can be largely reduced if we go for data analytics. And for that, perhaps the starting point would be to understand the own financial balance sheet, or your accounts, the final accounts and the profit and loss and the balance sheet, which can help an entrepreneur to go forward.
That is what Sarkar Sahab SME Analytics wants to do, a free balance sheet analysis and profit and loss, to give them 35 main ratio and 20 operational ratio, free of cost. Compare it with NSE listed emerged companies and recommendation. This part we are doing free of cost, because it will, this kind of awareness is not there in MSME unit. In last about 2 years, I asked many MSME entrepreneurs, do you know what is your return on investment? Sir, I am doing very good. So he is not bothered whether he is making 25% profit on return on investment, or is working on 18% or 29%, or is making real loss but showing the profit in the balance sheet. This is a challenge. And it is not only 6.35 crore MSME, but now with this retail coming in also, I find retail shops are getting closed very fast. In 2 years' time, 3 years' time, I find a lot of tea bundles are changing their place of operations. They run away, and I really surprised why that is happening. Can something be done? So what we want to do at this moment is to take up any unit above 1 crore or 50 lakhs, give them a hand-holding, and see that they achieve. Today, one company we are trying to take from 18 crore to 100 crore in 2.5 years' time. Another one company of 100 crore doing export of pharma company with number of manufacturing units and other things. See, is it that is a fragmented capacity, as we can say. So how we can understand their data? Capex, many of MSME entrepreneur does not understand capex. See, the reason, that is why the number of failures in MSME is, one of the reason is diversion of short-term fund for long-term use, and drying up that unit for working capital. And then legal notices come from banks, and they run around, and slow, that accelerated damage is happening to a lot of MSME. So today, continuously using technology step by step over a span of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 years, depending on the what stage of business you are, is a necessity. If you do not accept it today, you are not going to be surviving more than 3 to 5 years. That is my overall picture, what I can give. Somebody can survive because they may have hidden internal reserves. See, it reminds me a joke of one thing. In Bombay, one fellow was selling samosa, buying at 5 rupees and selling. Please see, he was buying samosa at 5 rupees and selling 3 rupees, and he became lakpati. So this kind of challenges will come. See, because he was crorepati, he came lakpati. That's a laughable situation, but these are truth. These are realistic jokes which can happen. So with this, my next webinar on 11 will be on export to South Africa, export opportunity of South Africa. One Mr. Sami Kapoor from Delhi will be a speaker, and I request everybody to look join that in large number, and request everybody to circulate in that group, because this kind of experience sharing will not happen. So thank you once again to everybody, and see you on 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, Nila sir. Nice information, good information.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
ये ले लो